Hallo und herzlich willkommen zur Muso Talk Berichterstattung von der Epic Creation Tour 2011 und neben mir ist ein alter Bekannter für alle die Muso Talk regelmäßig schauen, das ist der Jacob Hellner. Hello Jacob.
Hello there, nice to be here again.
Herzlich willkommen zu Muso Talk, dem Music- und Sound Production Podcast aus Berlin.
I've been working as a producer for 25 years now, and but my claim to fame is, of course, here in Germany that I work with Rammstein, and been doing that for 16 years now. But what got me into the German world was a Swedish band called Clawfinger many years ago. And that was the door opener to this world. And then I had the pleasure to be here in Berlin a lot and work with the fantastic artists in Rammstein. And so that's what I do, and that's why people are interested in talking to me.
Absolutely, we're very interested. One thing we discussed before we actually started recording the interview was I wanted to ask you, what has changed in your setup since last year? And the interesting statement was nothing.
Well, nothing with a modification. I mean, in terms of, there's been some slight sort of, updates in the world of Pro Tools, which has modified our workflow a little bit. But I guess the change, if you talk to me and other people as well, is that we are now sort of in the box even more. And people are, the need for recalls and work on several projects at the same time has made us work more and more in the digital environment, which for me is totally cool because the tools we have are getting a lot better, and it's a real situation, and you just have to, whatever you think is missing, you just have to find other ways of getting it.
Is it down to the economics of things that you need to work faster, you need to do more projects? Is that what makes it impossible almost to work in the digital domain these days?
I think the need for recall is probably the main reason, if you ask people like me and the other guys that are talking here today, that people are, I've had the pleasure to work with Stefan Glaumann, who is a great mixer in Stockholm, and his world was very old school. It's like, now the mix is up, the way it sounds now is the way it sounds. Everybody agree? Cool, we print it. I've had one project now, one song, and I don't do that much mixing, I do a little bit more of it, but in this particular song, he did stuff, and I straight away, okay, you do that, then I'm going to send you a new one with the snare drum a little bit more in this color, and a little bit less of that, and a little bit more of that. And 2 or 3 passes of that, 1.5 hour work, and I was so happy with the master, we really nailed it, and no issues, and that's one of advantages of being in this kind of a recall situation, and also being online and people working in parallel in different studios and so forth.
But I guess it still takes a lot longer these days to get something finished this way.
That is true. You can get an email from an artist, the artist 3 weeks later saying, well, I listened to the song 450 times now, and I think maybe that the delay after the second chorus was a little bit too loud. This has happened to me.
Oh, Jesus.
Then I have to quote, I had this discussion with the fantastic producer and engineer Joe Barresi in America, and his answer to that is learn to love it. I've also talked with other colleagues here about the advantages and disadvantages of home recording, that people can now sit at home and make their records. What's good about it and what's not good. A good thing is that you can if you have, especially the experiences I've had, singers that are very sort of sensitive to who's there and the environment and so forth, they can be in a totally cool way and do a good performance. That's good at home. But you can also get totally lost in all the options, as you say. And I've more than once people come to me for mix something, and they it was so good at home, and we listen to it and blah 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 blah. But the quality of the recording is poor, and I can't blow it up in the right in the way it's intended to be in the mix, because the quality of the recording is not good enough. And So I'm, more and more I'm advocating learn the art of recording. It's a very, very important thing to record well. If you can do that, then you will end up with a higher quality product, no matter what style of music.
Yeah, but also a lot of people think, I'm afraid they think that they can always fix it with the tools. But my experience is on the same equipment, I have tracks that sound really poor and some that sound fantastic. And it's down to the musical content, the arrangement, the sounds I use.
Yeah, totally agree. And a mixing process should, I mean, there's always stuff that maybe needs to be fixed, but it should be about, enhancing the emotions of the music and so forth. And that might be, then the right thing might be to trash something and make it ugly and dirty, but it should be, it should be good, it should be right for what the song is. When it comes to fixing and poorly recorded drums or poorly recorded vocals, because, that suddenly all the S's starts to fly everywhere when you start to blow it up, and then it's not as fun to do the stuff you do, So I think this is a discussion worth having, the pros and cons of home recording systems.
I saw a very good talk on TED Talks. It's this great show. It's a big conference where they have big psychiatrists, and there was one psychiatrist, and he explained exactly what the nature and the problem is with having too many options. And he said that, psychologically it's a problem when you're in front of a shelf of 20 lotions of the same stuff, and the same is when I go through my plugin directory and I have 20 compressors, I always have the feeling I'm choosing the wrong one,
Yeah, sure. And it's too many options is dangerous. My advice is, if you are someone who is out there and going to start a more serious adventures into recording and studio, and if you have money, invest it wisely in a good listening environment. What comes out of your speaker, and to be able to trust that. It doesn't have to be the most expensive stuff, but something that you can trust and understand. That's really important. And then slowly build up your tools, your arsenal of tools, and understand how they work. If you start with having 45 compressors, which is easy to have, use only one for 6 months and see what that takes you.
It was good when it was still hardware. You could only own one.
Exactly. So there's like a new, territory to understand how to navigate through these different worlds. So. But if you get your shit together, then it's fun.
Absolutely. That's a good closing for our interview, I think. Have fun, guys.
Yes, definitely. Have fun and just keep on making good music.